This is part 9. What if Goku was the reincarnation of Majin Buu? As Majin Buu fights Broly, Goku tells him to look into the sky. Majin Buu smiles. This time things are going to be very different and way more interesting than it was the last time. Majin Buu relinquished the control of Goku's body so that he can just sit back and watch how it all plays out. But if he's needed, he will step in. Goku flies into space and he watches Buku as he approaches the Kai's planet. Beerus is curious. Who is that? And why does everybody seem so concerned? He wonders who could be that important to where Goku would stop his fight to go and see who it is. Broly is just as confused because Goku seemed like he was having so much fun, the same as him, but he just stopped fighting all of a sudden, and now he's in outer space. Buku has finally reached the planet of the Kais, and he stands face to face with Goku. Buku looks Goku up and down, then he puts his hand on his shoulder. Well, I see you got a lot stronger. Buku goes into Goku's mind space to see Majin Buu. Hopefully Kid Buu is the one in control, because like he said before, he wants Goku to be consumed by his anger. But sadly, it doesn't seem like that happened, because once he goes into Goku's mind space, he's only met by Goku. Then he's pushed out. A jolt of lightning hits Buku's hand, causing him to move away from Goku. Buku would begin chuckling. This is going to be so much fun. Finally, I get a real challenge. Finally. Buku's hair begins to turn pink, and he holds his face as he laughs into the air. He then puts his head down to where he can see Goku, and with the one eye that he has, he stares at him. If you disappoint me, Goku, you will not like what happens next. Goku wouldn't even respond to anything that Buku just said. He closes his eyes, and he begins to think about all the training he did for this exact moment. Goku's godly aura flares around his entire body as he begins transforming into a Super Saiyan God. Goku opens his eyes, and he looks at Buku with a blank expression. He tells him that he's going to kill him once and for all. Buku likes the sound of this. He attempts to strike Goku multiple times, but Goku moves out the way of every attack, and he even counters with a sharp uppercut to Buku's chin. Back on the Kai's planet, Vegeta asks Trunks who is that guy. Well, is that the guy that they were talking about many years ago? Trunks nods his head, and he clenches his sword, while both Broly and Gohan will be looking into the air to watch both of the pink energies clash into one another. It doesn't make sense to Gohan though. How can Buku even still keep up with this version of his dad? Could he possibly be stronger than what he's showing right now? Well, who actually knows right now? They'll just have to wait and see. Goku swings Buku by his leg, then throws him down into the planet, where his body plummets to the ground. Buku would then stand up and gain his composure. He looks into the sky angrily until he feels some familiar key signatures. He turns his head and he looks at both Gohan and Trunks, and he smirks. Beerus starts to gain an understanding now. The mortals have been messing with time this entire time. But how ironic is it that Goku is fighting himself from another timeline? But actually, maybe this could be interesting for Beerus. Just because the Saiyans have broken the law of time, this could be their punishment. He's going to take control of this battle and fight the rest of this, and make Goku and the others just watch. Beerus steps up to Buku, and he glares at him. Your fight is with me now, Goku. A tick mark grows on Buku's head as he shouts, "That is not my name. And just for thinking you could step up and challenge me is going to cost you your life." Beerus begins to chuckle. Do you really think that you could kill me, the destroyer of Universe 7? You're funny, Goku. Holes starts to form in Buku's head, and steam begins to shoot out of them. Buku clenches his fist till blood begins to pour out from him. For the last time, that is not my name. A dark pink aura begins to surround Buku's body. He screams that his name is Buku as he begins to transform into another form. Buku's skin begins to turn completely pink, and his hair becomes even more spiky. Buku power has reached another level. He feels beyond stronger than what he ever felt before. The others would look at Buku in pure shock. How did he even obtain this much power? He doesn't even look like Goku anymore. Whis even states that he could feel the God Ki coming off from him. If Beerus isn't careful, this could actually be the end of him. Goku flies down to see what just happened, because Buku Ki just shot way up out of nowhere. Beerus looks at Buku and he smirks. Wow, even the future version of the Saiyan is incredible. Beerus throws off his destroyer robe and he activates his destructive ki. Goku begins to remember the first time he saw Beerus. Majin Buu tells him that's exactly what's happening right now. You have to keep in mind that Buku has never seen Beerus till now, so he still has that rage built inside of him from the Majin Buu before him. Buku may even feel more anger than what Goku felt just because of his relationship with Kid Buu. Goku clenches his teeth. Buku power feels like it multiplied by thousands. Even when he thought he couldn't get no stronger, he goes and do something like this. Goku yells out to Beerus to be careful, then he flies over to where the others are. Beerus scoffs, which angers Buku even more. Is he actually thinking that he's nothing? Does he actually think he's going to get away with treating him like some type of weakling? Beerus will try to say something else to Buku, but he isn't able to get his words out due to being struck in the face. Buku tries to strike Beerus once again, but he moves out of the way, and he tells him not to get cocky. Beerus would then land a kick on Buku's back that causes them to create space between the two. Buku turns around, and he starts to rush towards Beerus at great speeds, and Beerus does the same, leading them two to begin clashing. Beerus isn't having an as easy as time as he thought he would have at first, because Buku is constantly growing throughout this fight. Buku power feels a lot like Goku's, but then again, it feels way more malevolent. Goku actually starts to look at Buku, and he's curious about why his skin is pink. He basically looked just like Majin Buu. He didn't even know that was possible to even happen. Is that some type of transformation? Majin Buu folds his arms. Buku has become one with that version of himself. He has the emotions, powers, and the looks that I have, fused with his own. Unlike how you and I are, we're actually separate beings, but him, he's one. That's why his power feels completely different. Goku tells Buu that he didn't even know that was possible. Buu scoffs. He never even asked. In reality, Buu didn't even know this was possible neither, but he isn't going to tell Goku that. Vegeta begins thinking to himself that even this version of Goku is on a whole nother level. Is this actually what Gohan and Trunks had to face in their own timeline? Plus, who even knows if that is even his full power? Vegeta looks over at Goku and he wonders, could Goku actually achieve the form that Buku is fighting in right now? Whis could see what's going to happen from a mile away. Beerus should have just left this up to the mortals to handle. Or he could have just left this and Hakai'd him from the beginning. Buku would split himself into two, and Beerus is now being double-teamed and thrown around. The power of Buku is just too much for the destroyer of Universe 7. Beerus jumps back and he attempts to bring out more of his strength, but now he's actually forced to go to 100%, or else he'll be killed. But sadly, it's too late for that. Beerus waited too long, and now he's finna pay for it. Beerus is finally finna feel what every mortal has to go through. Goku and the Kais begin screaming. Whis just closes his eyes and he quietly says his goodbyes. He could reverse time if he wants to, but he doesn't. Who knows? Maybe this is how everything's supposed to play out. Another Universe 7 destroyer will be selected in another time from now. Beerus has done all he could, and this is his own undoing. Buku's arm is seen going through Beerus' chest. The Buku in front of Beerus turns into a pink blob. And the last thing that Beerus would ever see before he dies is Majin Buu absorbing him with the evil smile. Beerus has now been absorbed, and he's one with Buku. Buku lets out a loud scream as purple destructive energy crackles off of his body. Buku begins to scream even louder, and he begins to transform once again in a form that no one has ever seen before. Buku's hair begins to grow all the way down his back, and his eyebrows begins to disappear. It looks like he's transforming into a Super Saiyan 3, but it's not that. His power has reached an entirely new level. He's gained even more power than he could ever even imagine. Who knew that a destructive ki would feel this way? Once Buku would be finished transforming, he looks up at Goku and he begins to smile as he twirls a Hakai in his hand. Buku starts to think out loud. Does this make him the next destroyer of Universe 7? Since, the other destroyer has been killed by him. Oh, maybe. If he goes to every other universe and destroy every other destroyer, could he possibly rule the entire multiverse? Buku begins to laugh loudly. Who knows what the future has in store for him? He looks at the Kai and he begins to wonder, should he absorb him as well? Would that give him even more power? The Kais begin to sweat drop and they hide behind Goku. They can't allow this to happen to them. They don't want to be one with him. Trunks clenches his sword and he's tired of waiting around. He's tired of this guy going around and killing people. He's sick of being reminded of what happened to his timeline, and he refuses to allow what happened to his to happen to this one as well. Trunks let out a loud scream, and he tells him that he deserves to die as his power shoots into the air. He rockets towards Buku with his sword in his hand, and he actually lands a slash on Buku's neck that slices off his head. Trunks would then proceed to chop off the rest of his body, and he actually shoots a blast that disintegrates most of it. Trunks thinks that this is the end. He starts to breathe heavily as he begins to smile and chuckle to himself. He's finally did it. He's finally gone. Everyone begins to scream out Trunks' name as Buku appears behind him. No way that you actually thought you could kill me with that. You're so pathetic. Trunks turns around slowly and he sees a ball of Hakai pointed directly at his head. Before Trunks dies, the last thing he sees is both Gohan and Vegeta screaming his name, Hakai. Trunks' body begins to be destroyed. Vegeta drops down to his knees and he begins to hold his head as he lets out a loud scream. Simultaneously, Gohan does the exact same thing. Two white auras shoots into the air above both Vegeta and Gohan. Tears will fall down Gohan's eyes as he transforms. He angrily looks at Buku in his beast form. Even though Gohan is done transforming, Vegeta isn't through yet. He continues to scream out loud and he's finally reached the new form. But this isn't enough, and he knows that. He has to go a step further. Vegeta begins to scream even louder as a blue and white aura envelops around his entire body. His hair even becomes even more shiny white. Now, he's finally done it. Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 5, a new form that's only unique to Vegeta himself. Goku looks over at the two of them and he's surprised. Both of their hair is white, but in two different styles. Vegeta even has white fur around his arms. This is amazing. They both have unlocked two unique transformations. The Kais and even Whis look at the two of them. The Saiyans never cease to impress them. They always find a way to break their limits.